Mongoose Jake here with yet another video featuring a Buzz Bee pistol. I haven't actually done my review on the Buzz Bee Sentry, and I've been using a couple of these for quite some time now. What it is basically is from the Precision line, which is the blasters that have the red, white, and gray color scheme and are shipped out with Precise Pros. This is the smallest and least expensive blaster in Buzz Bee's lineup. Coming in, I actually purchased both of mine at my local Kmart for $5.99 each, and it is a two-shot top prime blaster without a smart AR system. It actually uses a rotating plunger tube inside of it that indexes every time you prime it and rotates, of course, swapping between the upper and lower barrels. Very simple, very reliable, heavy-duty system that actually, for those of you who do want to mod this, opens this up to being able to handle much higher spring loads and still functioning properly, like say in comparison to something like a Nerf Triad, which does use a smart AR system, which can be overridden and sometimes launch multiple darts unexpectedly. But on this blaster itself, it is small. It's still pocketable, but due to this large top prime, which I mean does have a nice backrest for your hand, that is nice, but because of that, it's going to take a big pocket. I can actually place it in a jeans pocket. I've already tried it multiple times. Cargo pockets on shorts work great for this, and this can be stored in basically the big pocket as a backup. Or if you do wear a vest, you know, slide it in, maybe even put a Velcro patch on it and stick it to you, just to pull out as a last ditch effort kind of blaster. But one thing that it has still, even though it is featuring a slightly cut down plunger tube, a little bit shorter draw on it because that's not much draw compared to normal Buzz Bee specs, this thing is still hitting above Nerf Elite average. It will hit over 70 feet per second as I deprime it there. I actually am averaging with Nerf Elites, with X-Shine XL darts, and Buzz Bee's long distance darts, I'm averaging anywhere from 72 to 78 feet per second because the airflow is different on the barrels. On each pistol, like I said, I have two of these. One, the top barrel fires a little harder than the lower barrel. On the other one, it's reverse. The lower barrel fires a little harder than the top barrel. But in between both barrels and all variety of darts, anywhere from 72 to 78 feet per second. Not bad out of a very small pistol. And it is small. I mean, there I am holding it. My pinky is swallowing the grip. It's not uncomfortable, but it's not the most comfortable setup that I've ever felt. But it's not bad, especially for who it's intended for. This is definitely intended as a beginner type of blaster that you pick up for a kid, and for them, that pistol is probably going to be pretty good. And having that hook to grab on for the top prime is nice. That gives a small hand and maybe less muscle mass a little bit of extra leverage to work against. Now for us, I mean, that means you can prime that thing nicely, and it does have a fairly stout spring, and that's part of how it's getting its performance. So you need a little force behind it. Now, my daughters have used this pistol, and both of them have no problems priming it. So Buzz Bee's done a good job of making a pistol that is usable by the smallest of Nerfers, while also being powerful enough to, hey, maybe possibly appeal to us adults who want a backup pistol. So it can fill all those roles. Now, I am here in a minute going to show you the internals of what I'm talking about and how it can relate to us as modders. So let's take a look at that. Okay, over here on the workbench, here is my other Buzz Bee Sentry torn down to where you can see it does have a rotating plunger tube. Now, what I was talking about why this could be intriguing is that this plunger tube, if you pull this piece out, that's the inlet for both of the barrels. Now, if you were to clear out the air restrictors, remove the dart posts, here's the front of the plunger tube. I'm going to take care so it doesn't pop out. There we go. Okay. If you were to trim the center of all of this, don't go past out here because then you'll lose the seal of the foam gasket. Trim out the center. You can make it to where, and enlarge these holes here towards the middle, you can actually make this to be a 2-shot shotgun pistol. It's because it works by rotating and then lining up with one of the barrels. And you can see the little bit of orange there to the top of the screen. And when this turns, now you see the orange showing on the bottom. That's actually your view into the air restrictor. But that is how this could be upgraded in one way. Now what I found is actually this accepts the springs. This is from NF Strike. As you can see here, this is the Act Strike spring for Alpha Hawk. That is actually the same length as the stock Buzz Bee Sentry spring. It's a little narrower, so it actually rides up on the, this plunger rod's pretty heavily reinforced. I wouldn't actually cut it. I already have, as you can see, this package has been opened. I went ahead and test fit it. It fits on pretty nicely over here. Now this is of course for those of us who are modders, who want to tinker with it as adults and get more power out of it. But on to the final part of the review. Okay, on to the final conclusion and my final opinion on the Buzz Bee Sentry. I do find this to be a very fine small pistol. It's not the most compact. I'll use my little Zombie Strike Jolt here as a comparison. This is one of the smallest pistols in the market. This isn't quite that small. This is the standard size pistol, the Nerf Strong Arm. Put the two together, and you see it is much more compact than that. So it's kind of a middle ground. It's a smallish pistol, but not the smallest. Now, the benefit of not being tiny is that it actually still has very good power for a pistol. It's actually more powerful than the bigger Strong Arm. And more surprising yet, hitting between 72 to 78 feet per second, depending on the dart, the barrel, and whatnot, this thing is actually hitting higher velocities, which means better range, better able to hit a target while they're running around the yard. This thing's actually more powerful than a Nerf Retaliator. So there's that. It's not the tiniest pistol that's easiest to fit in the pocket, but it has the power to keep up with bigger blasters. And that's what Buzz Bee was going for, I'm sure. And it's also just big enough, it feels comfortable for an adult, while not being off-putting to a child's hand. And there is a nice balance. Because we've got to remember, this is a hobby of foam dart firing blasters. Everybody's going to want to get in on the fun, and this has a place in your arsenal. I personally have a couple of them myself. I'm going to be adding more to them, and this is going to start being a routinely featured blaster that I'm going to start doing some mods on, because I'm going to throw in the little mod section just because I know some people who watch my channel aren't into the modding, and so am I. That's fun to tinker with them. But my final opinion is, yes, I do think this has a place. It's a fun little pistol that's got enough punch to not leave it outclassed if you decide to pull it out for whatever reason. But again, it's Munger Steak with my review of the very nice Buzz Bee Sentry. Hope you enjoyed it.